It's great to have your company this Friday, the 15th day of October. My name's Jessica Amir, a senior market analyst with Bell Direct. You're tuned in to the weekly. Well, the Aussie share market slipped slightly backwards on a weekly basis as unemployment data rocked the boat. Meanwhile, on the positive side, business confidence and new home sales rose. And this contrast caused a bit of tug of war in markets, seeing the broad Aussie share market flatline Monday to Thursday. Miners rose 1.7%, up the most out of the sectors, fueled by investors buying into gold stocks. On the flip side, financials fell the hardest, 1.4%, with investors selling stocks in investment management firms and insurance groups, really after learning that the Australian economy lost 138,000 jobs in September, 38,000 more than expected. Platinum PTM, their shares copped the brunt of selling, falling over 5% after businesswoman Judith Nielsen sold $291 million of shares, while Platinum has also experienced further falls in funds under management. So that affected Platinum. Moving to the stock leaderboard, we can see three main themes took place. Firstly, Fintech investment platforms stole the show. Netwealth, NWL, their shares rose 20%. Hub24, HUB, they rose about 15%. Now, NWL and Hub both reported record flows into their respective investment platforms. And NWL took it a step further and they upgraded their outlook for 2022. Credit Suisse then came out, re-stamped NWL, Netwealth, as a buy stock given its strong balance sheet and strategy, while Citi and Morgans have NWL as a hold. Credit Suisse, meantime, also re-stamped Hub as a buy. And it's worth noting that most brokers are bullish on Hub except Macquarie. All in all, though, for the entire fintech platform industry, Credit Suisse is estimating the industry will grow from $1 trillion to $1.8 trillion by 2040. Estimating Netwealth NWL will have 14% of the market and Hub will have about 15%. As for the other themes dominating the leaderboard, we can see, secondly, that gold miners are stealing the show for 2 weeks running, as investors are betting the safe haven commodity gold will do well amid broad market uncertainty. So there's Perseus Mining, PRU, Silver Lake Resources, SLR, Ramelius Resources, RMS, and Regis Resources, RRL. All their shares rose between 8 to 14% Monday to Thursday. With this in mind, it's really important to reflect on why there is uncertainty in markets at the moment. Firstly, this week, the US Federal Reserve announced it will start to reduce stimulus, i.e. buy less bonds, either from mid-November or mid-December. So the date is a bit unknown. Secondly, the other major uncertainty is that one of China's biggest property developers, Evergrande, missed another debt repayment this week. So that caused the iron ore price to pull back again, intensifying fears that this company could collapse as well if it's not either taken over or split up. The third other major theme taking place is that investors are increasing their appetite for infant milk formula stocks. A2 Milk, A2M, their shares rose 14%, and the smaller infant milk company rose 34%, Bubs Australia, both hitting 3-month highs. Both shares moved after Bubs Australia, BUB, announced sales to China rose 156% year on year. And as well, 53% of Bub's quarterly revenue came from Chinese sales. Also of interest, Bub's infant formula gross revenue rose over 120% year on year. And adult goat milk powder gross revenue rose over 100% as well on the prior year. So look, all in all promising signs the infant formula market is picking up. But with this in mind, Bell Potter then stepped out and upgraded Bubs Australia, BUB, from a hold to a buy, giving Bubs a 65-cent target. That implies 30% share price growth in a year. Bell Potter notes the corporate Daigou channel sales were up a massive 648% year on year. Just extraordinary. But what is Daigou? Let's just pause on that for a second. Daigou is known as a cross-border exporting phenomenon, I guess, where individuals or groups buy goods from Australia and take them back to China to sell. So this is really quite interesting to see that the Daigou channel sales are tremendously picking up. What else does Bell Potter like? Well, Bell Potter likes that Bubs has got strong cash flow, and they also reduced their product manufacturing costs by 28% year on year. So they're all the things that investors like to hear. Plus, Bell Potter also likes that Bubs expanded into the US with first product to be shipped to the USA in the first quarter of 2022. Now, what to watch next week? Firstly, US third quarter company earnings ramp up for the second week. Investors will be keen to hear the outlooks for 2022 for some of the biggest companies in the world, really looking for clues as to when supply disruptions will end. All in all, this quarter of the S&P 500 companies reporting earnings are tipped to be 28% higher than the same quarter a year ago. That's more than double the 5-year average earnings growth rate, according to FactSet. But of course, there's a risk if companies report less earnings growth than expected, then equities might be at risk of another pullback. Keeping in mind the US market is currently 4% lower than its all-time high. As for what else to watch next week, well, locally, there's a bit of economic news to be across. We'll get a preview and a pulse check of how Australia's services sector is performing and how it ought to wrap up in October. Given restrictions are easing in New South Wales and in Victoria next week, it'll be telling of what the services sector read is and how the market reacts. So I think it'd be wise to keep a close eye on services sector sensitive stocks like Flight Centre, FLT, Webjet, WEB, Qantas, QAN, Sydney Airports, SYD, and Australia's biggest pub owner, Charter Hall, CLW. And that's the weekly. I'm Jessica Amir with Bell Direct signing off for my last weekly report as I'm leaving the business, taking a new challenge outside of the Bell Direct business. Thank you so much for your support, feedback, and comments over the years. And thank you for helping our platform grow. Bell Direct will continue to, of course, provide daily market commentary and trading ideas. So stay tuned to Bell Direct. From all of us here, stay safe and have a great weekend. Bye for now.